Well, good afternoon. We are just a couple of minutes away from another match in this year's VP4 Virtual World Straight or Virtual Straight. But we'll say that again. Virtual World Straight Pool Championships. Let's see if we can find the bracket first of all. And we've got the match scheduled. I think it's down here. This is going to be a round 3 match between Semipro and Vinces, starting at the top of the hour, so we're about a minute or so away. We can see that the winner of this match is going to be playing Franco in the next round, so it should be a good matchup. And Vinces should be a good enough opponent to give Semipro some trouble. We'll see. Let's look further up the bracket. This thing, I hate this bracket, the way it moves. We can see that Acero is through to round 3, and he's waiting on an opponent, and that is between Baker Maker and Tin. That match isn't scheduled yet. If we look in the one-loss side, not a lot happening, although I see that there is a fixture at 6 PM tonight. I think that's tonight. Is this the 22nd? Yes, it is. Yes. And that's in the one-loss side, and that will be between Dirties, or Dr. Ties, however you pronounce the damn name, and DJ Simon. And that's a race to 100, so that's in a couple of hours time. Now, I don't see a lot happening further down. Well, there's nothing else scheduled, so we just wait and see that the room goes up. Both players are here. Vinces is in a room, and he's from, well, according to that, Antarctica, so I don't know where he's from. He's certainly not from Antarctica. And Semipro from the UK, more than likely England. And once again, anybody who is watching on the stream, we have 2 streams. We have one on YouTube channel, one on the Twitch channel, and both chats are merged through Restream, so that I can see them on screen, and likewise anybody who's watching the stream can see chat from either channel. And it would help if we had a little chat test. It should be up and running. Everything's confirming it's okay. So no doubt someone may well join at some point, and we'll get that tested out. Meanwhile, I'll just test out and see that my little doodle's working. Let's see. There's always a bit of a delay when it's not live streaming or live in the room, but it's working reasonably okay. Right, so the room is up, both players are in, they're probably just lagged off, and it looks like Semipro has won the lag and has put Vinces into break. So the break off is the one thing in straight pool that you don't want to have, so you always give it to your opponent, because it's very difficult to keep things safe. And Semipro is going to have 3 or 4 balls to pick off here at the start of the match. A little roll through for the 10 ball, I would think. I don't think, maybe had a bit more angle on that ball than first glance, so now he's having to cut the 1. And going into the back of the pack, he's opened some up, but he's not got an easy shot. This is a tight pot into the middle pocket. There's not a lot of pocket showing, but in it goes. Now, I've not seen an awful lot of Vince's playing straight pool. Semipro is new to the game. He's new to straight pool, more or less. Predominantly played a lot of the black ball table, the pub table pool, from what I've seen in VP4. And Vince says with a rating of 2,770, then I'm expecting him to be competent. So it'll be interesting to see how he responds in when his opportunity comes. You know what I should have got? I should have got my bottle of water. Be back in a wee second, get a drink. Right, we've got our water supplies in order. So with Semipro, from the break off, or from Vince's break off, this is Semipro's first visit to the table, and we're looking for a break ball here. 6 ball is in the triangle, that won't count. 13 ball at the back of the pack is a good break ball. The only thing about, I've mentioned this before, breaking off or trying to break the pack from the back or from the sides, it's never a good idea to run the cue ball solidly into the back of the pack, because it can very often just stick. It's always better to try and hit a corner of the pack, and that usually frees up the cue ball. So the 5 ball's there as well. It's not in a great position, but it certainly won't be a break ball now that he's potting it. And he's now gone a bit high on this 6. So he's going to do well to drag this cue ball and hold for the 13 without hitting it. Lots of draw, and I think he's gone too high. Yep, he's too straight. He's not going to get much out of this, I don't think. It'll be a good shot to break anything out from this 13 ball. He's gone around, but couldn't generate an awful lot of power, and that will be end of visit. And unless he can see any sort of combo anywhere, he'll just be playing a safety, locking up on a ball if he can. Now, is there anybody out there watching? Let me know, that way I know the chat's working. I think he's okay. He's protecting the cue ball is probably one of the most important things in any sort of billiard game when you're trying to play safe. And this very often, as I've said before as well, the safety is usually behind the pack somewhere. We've got a couple of open balls in the bottom half of the table here, so there's no safety down this end of the table. Now if anybody is using the chat, I'm not seeing anything on screen. Although when I started the stream, I got confirmation that everything was working. So Semipro loses a point, not hitting a rail, but no damage done, just keeping it tight. Now Vinces has fell short, so just needed a wee bit more running on that cue ball there, and that's given Semipro a chance. Now this is the problem: if you get your safeties wrong and you're already behind and you're giving your opponent an easy starter just to add some more points to that lead. I don't know whether he can just drop through and get on that 9 ball. That looks a bit tight as well. He can drop through and get on the 6. But there's not an awful lot of choices here for Semipro. In fact, yeah, he's a bit straight there. So unless he spotted something, it's going to have to be a safety. I can't see anything. Maybe try and skim off and go behind the pack again. And that's keeping it tight. That's good. Now if Vinces has got any if he's got any tactical awareness, he's going to have to be patient here. He can't start getting desperate just to get in the game, because that very often just falls into the opponent's ploy. Vinces just has to keep it tight and be patient, because he'll get his chance at some point. He's just got to be ready to take that opportunity. So he's still not on the board. Semipro with a 17-point lead. And Vinces has picked out the 2 ball into the right middle. Now, has he got a break ball there to open this pack? Yes, he has. And it's a good chance this. There's now 3 balls locked up in the middle of the table. Doesn't need to concern himself with them for the time being. If he can get on that 10 ball in such a way, that would be an opportunity. Well, he's taking a chance just to draw into them. That's freed them up. That's dealt with the problem straight away. So all of these balls are sitting there. And the 8 ball has gone to the back of the pack as a possible break ball. The 6 ball is good for a break ball as well. So he may well have already chosen that one. Doesn't need to move it. And he could take the 1 ball right now as well, I think, which would be a good idea. Well, that's a strange choice. He's taking the 6 ball, which, as far as I can see, was the best break ball. 9 balls at the point of the triangle. I don't think that's a great position. So he may well have just sort of ruined his chances to progress this run once he gets down to that last ball. We'll soon find out. He's going to have to get good on this 12 ball or that 9 ball in order to create a break on the pack. And Vince says playing with a house cue, which is probably not going to cause any problem, although it doesn't have anywhere near the same power as a purchase cue. You don't need that great a power in straight pull. It's just about nudging balls out, and it might give him better control of the cue ball. Well, the 9 ball's going now as well, so he's really going to have to, well, he's now decided against it, but how he gets this break is important, where he lands this cue ball. And that is not bad. That isn't that bad, I don't think. Well, looking at it from this angle, the potting angle means he's going to skim to the right of the pack. Oh, he's just brushed into them. And there's nothing there. So I don't see anything in the pack that will go. So he's going to have to get this safe. Well, the cue ball in a good position for a safety. Not a lot Semi-Pro can do here. He'll do well just to get a ball to a rail here. He could go very thin off the 4 and come up here, but the problem with that is he's going to more than likely leave the 13 ball. Well, he's got away with it. A possible bank on the 11 ball, but that would be an aggressive shot. And it looks like Vince says is taking the bait. Oh, this is dangerous, especially if he's going to try and keep the run going. Now he could play this bank as a safety and just lock the cue ball into the pack. And this is where a lot of players don't use the rules of the game. And he's left it on. See, that to me was a crazy shot. I mean, he's 6 points behind. And okay, if it went in, he looks good, because he's opened up the pack, but all he's done now is he's just freed up this pack for Semi-Pro. So that was a bad choice of shot there, in my opinion, by Vince says. He could have played a safety there by calling the safe on the bank. Oh, thank God somebody's there. At least I know the chat's working. Good evening, Popman. That was a bad shot by Vince says. That was not a sensible shot to play. And he could pay the price here. There's a lot of points to be made from this visit. Again, Semi-Pro's trying to create balls into the open when he probably didn't really need to. And now he's in a difficult position. Oh, there's somebody else there as well. So we've got Twitch and we've got YouTube working, so that's good. So welcome. Now you see he's just running out of line here and relying on a bit of luck to still be on a ball. So he's not in control of the table yet. He's in behind the 4. And if he runs through, he's got the 7. And all these balls here don't need to be moved. He just needs to pick his way around them. That's really one of the secrets of straight pool, is not moving balls when you don't need to. Because when you start running into balls when there's no reason to do so, you can run into trouble. It's about picking the cue ball through the balls to pick them out and take them out. Once again, if you can get rid of that 7 ball on the left hand side, you can certainly at least take out either the 8 or the 15 over on that side, those 3 balls that are lined up. If you got rid of the 15, that would open up the 10 ball a bit more. And now he's got the angle on the 7, he's going to maybe run into something here again. And once again, he didn't need to. But now it's looking good. Now these are points that, in all honesty, semi-pro shouldn't be getting. And Vince says he's going to have to cut that out. He's going to have to wind his neck in a bit here. I mean, it's a race to 150. And you have to take that into account. You cannot be taking unnecessary risks and leaving somebody like Semi-Pro into an open table. You're just asking for trouble. And all the time, Semi-Pro's just creeping further away. And well, we'll see if Vince S has got any match play nous about him. Because he's going to have to realise the mistake he made there and deal with it in another way. There's a right time to attack and there's a right time to defend, and that was not the right time to attack. Well, it's going to be the 10 ball for the break shot, so he has to get someone like this on the 10 ball or get there on the 10 ball, but even there on the 10 ball on this side is not the best way. He has to probably get it from that side so he can come off the rail and into the pack. Now you see he's gone straight, and now he's in no man's land. He's going to have to work this cue ball hard to get anything here, I think. Don't know whether he can go off the back rail. He's still too straight. If he goes off the back rail, he'll be lucky he gets any power in to open it. If he can hit a corner, yeah, it was never on. He's just going to glance off the pack here. In fact, he's missed it. So the run comes to an end, but it's 14 points that Vince says is given away there. I mean, I'm one to be critical because I don't play a lot of straight pool. But I have to say, there's quite a few players who are sitting 2,800, 2,700 odd. And at first glance, having watched one or two of them play, they've got one thought in mind, and that's smacking into the pack all the time to try and get a run going. You cannot be one-dimensional in any billiard game. You have to bring everything to the table. It's very easy to get your rating up high, but you have to back it up when it comes to a tournament. I keep saying that. I keep saying it. If you're coming in with an impressive looking rating, then to impress me, you have to back it up when it comes to playing in tournament play, not in a challenge room. This is where you have to prove yourself at the time of asking. So Vince says loses a point, but I think in this case, not an awful lot of damage done. I mean, that 11 ball is there into the middle, and I don't think that Semi-Pro will be leaving an awful lot on, but then again, he probably won't leave a lot for himself either if he pots it. Again, he could play this as a safety and run the cue ball back in off the side rail into the behind the pack. We've got to be careful now. Got to protect that cue ball. Vince says it's trailing by 21 points, and he has to really be careful. Can't afford to just let Semi-Pro come in and pick him off time after time. And that's a bad one. Yeah, that's a poor shot. It's just an open invitation to get going, but you see, there's the mistake that Semi-Pro may well have made. He should have just taken what was there. He could have just left that for the 4 ball and worked something out. He's leaving it tough, but he's picked one out. And now it's looking a lot better after one shot. Of course, the other thing as well is a lot of these guys who, a lot of guys who have high ratings in Virtual Pool 4, a lot of times it doesn't come from real life experience either. A lot of guys maybe don't play billiards or snooker or pool in real life, so they don't get an awful lot of match practice experience to bring with them. And from the mistakes that Vince says has made, well, unless he tells me otherwise, then I don't think he's got an awful lot of match experience. He must keep it a lot tighter than he has. But then again, he's not had a lot to work with, and that's the reason for that is his Semi-Pro's been keeping it tight. So the lead is about to go to 40. And now he's out of line again. He's got a tough one. Just run too far for the 14 of the 1. And now the recovery shot. Just a roll in the 14. The 1 ball sitting there as a break ball. It's in perfect position for the break. up towards the corner of the pack. And Semipro just has to get good on it. That's what it's all about. This is the important shot. Getting good on the one. And as long as it slows up, see, the further it goes to the left, the more difficult the cut is becoming. So this is where the damage can be done. If you can get this pack open and run this next pack, then, well, unless Vinces does something great, he's going to be dead and buried very early on in this match. And he's got the 10. And an opportunity here for a high run. Could take the 5, then over for the 6, and then he's got all his focus and concentration on the top end of the table. And taking the 6 leaves him a choice of that 4 ball and the 14. Or even the 2, so that right thing to do, get rid of the 6. Does this look? He's trying to run off the back of the end rail into the pack. So again, if he takes the 2 and comes across for the 15, that's a blocking ball. You know, if he dealt with that sooner, that ball there, it opens up the 13. And the other thing is the 11 ball's a blocking ball into the other pocket. Although the 13's not potable from this side, really. Well, now he's left himself low on the 15, but he's gone a bit further than he would have liked. He's certainly going to hit the balls, so it's another crucial shot. And that's worked out nice. Let's look at what we have here. Well, the 9 ball is a possible break ball. It's outside the triangle. The 7 ball is inside it, I think. And he's finished straight on the 8, so he's going to have to draw back a little for that 7, or even maybe even the 11 ball. Well, maybe he can squeeze. Can he squeeze onto that 13? Yes, he can. That'll do it. Just went through far enough. Well, if you took the 7 now, he's going to brush the 9 ball. So it's another touch shot here. I don't think he likes the angle in the 11, so he may well run through that one to this 9. I don't think. Let's have a look at the angle. I think he's going to brush it. No, he's not done any damage. He's actually probably improved the situation slightly. Now, can he find a nice angle on this 9? And that looks good. It's just a wee bit, again, a wee bit further than is comfortable. I would have preferred it over here, this side a wee bit. Playing it a bit straighter makes it more difficult. But in it goes. Now is he on something? Well, he's on the 3. And the run goes to 28 and the lead goes to 49. An opportunity now to move some balls. He'd be unlucky if he wasn't on something at the back of the pack there. And he's still got a shot, although he's tied the 7 and the 7 and the 6 up. Now, the thing about the 13 is that he can only just basically drop it in. There's not an awful lot he can do with the cue ball. So he's going to have to be careful in his choice here. And he's managed to nudge it out onto the 4. Now that's 6 ball and 7 ball are the problem. Oh, he sent another one over, and it's now out of line, and it's whatever he's left this tough 1 ball, and that's going to be tight to squeeze that past the 8, especially when he's queuing over the 14, over between the 14 and the 7. So this is really tough. It's just a delicate pot. He doesn't need to try and force it in. Cue ball's going to be on the 5. Or even that 10. And that's nice. But how is he going to deal with this cluster of balls? Now the 5 ball would give an opportunity to break into it if you got good on it. But you'd have to get good on it from that side so you could run in. And that might be the plan here. I don't know whether... See, that 14 ball's just in the way slightly. If you could finish there, you could still maybe run in. I don't know. The problem is he might have to go forward and come into the cluster. I don't know what he was doing there. My assumption is he was trying to miss the 5. But the 5 ball now is actually in a better position to break them. He certainly... I can't believe he played that, but it doesn't matter. That has worked out perfect to break these balls out. Needs a bit of luck though. He can't just lock onto them. And doesn't need a lot of power. And the mistake's been made. So here, really, is the first, from what I can remember, the first good opportunity for Vincess to score something. Now remember the visit they did have early on, there was a 6 ball that was sitting sort of there, and he potted it when he didn't need to. And that was really his only good break ball that he had, and he blew his chance then. So his choice of shot left a lot to be desired at that point. And we'll see how he copes in this situation, because now He's on a run of 2, and he is 55 points behind. And he needs to make some sort of impact on this visit. And he has to find a break ball as well. Now the break ball ideally would be the 6 from that side to go into the pack, or from that side to come off the rail and into the pack. So he has to get a good line on that 6. Well, he's left that way too tight. He's going to have to play this with inside English, which makes the shot even more difficult with a house cue. And he's hung it up. You see that? I'm afraid is fatal. Left himself too much to do in that 6 ball. And once again, all he's done is said to Semipro, well, there you go, I've opened him up for you, help yourself. And by the time that Vinces possibly gets back to the table, Semipro could be very close to triple figures here and heading away into the distance. Well, there's a mistake, and that was unexpected, but that doesn't matter. You know, that doesn't matter that Semipro's made that unforced error. What matters is what happens now. And there isn't a lot to go for here for Vinces, because if he pots the 11, he's certainly going to have to move something. The 7 ball's sitting there, but the cue ball's going to be nowhere near the 7 ball. He's going to have to do something. And he has to get lucky. Well, he's missed everything. Now, I think he can see enough of that. Can he see enough of that 3 ball? That looks very, very tight. That's touch and go, whether he can make enough of it. Yes, he can. Now, what else has he got? 7 ball, and he'll be running into 2 or 3 balls. That's his only choice. Unless he can see enough of the 14 as well. But, again, it's very, very tight. And he's just struggling now to get himself in a good position, and he can certainly improve the situation off the 5. If he gets rid of these 2 balls here, that would open up the 1 ball into that corner. So he needs to get rid of these, and it opens that 1. So now is the time to impress. And the one thing about a match player in a tournament is that you can respond to a situation, and he's never going to get a better chance to prove himself than right now. But he's got the most important shot of the game still to come in this rack, and that's finding the break ball. And the mistake is made, and 9 isn't enough. Well, it's already looking odds on that Semipro is going to be facing Frankel in the next round. It looks very likely at this moment in time. And he's going to have a much more sterner test if that's going to happen. And if unless Vinces does something spectacular, it's going to be the case. That's going to be the tie in the next round. Semipro's got the pack all over the table. Everything's sitting to be picked off here. It's just managing your cue ball that's the most important thing. Well, it just goes to show you, having a 2,700 rating might frighten some players, but when it comes to match time and ability, then I have to say Vinces hasn't backed it up, not one bit. He hasn't been able to score, and he hasn't been able to get that deficit down to a more manageable level where he'll get himself in the match. Because we've had, what, 4 or 5 opportunities given to Semipro, and he's taken them, and that's why he's built up this lead. This is going a bit pear-shaped. This is a toughie. Well, that's a good shot, a good recovery as well. And now would be the good time to get rid of the 3. Now these balls are not as easy as they look, because we've got blocking balls here, and there's one ball that's in the open for potting really from that side of the table. He's took the risk. Well, he's okay. That could have been locked up there. Got the little nudge in the 7. And he's still in play. I don't know whether he can drop in behind him. No, he's too much angle. You can squeeze the 8 in. Can he get to the potting angle in it? Yes, he can. Well, 5 ball looks like the ball, although he's going to have to take it. He needed to go just that wee bit further that way, then to get rid of the 7 and left the 5 as the breaking ball. It's a bit far away from the pack, so he's going to have to find another way. That looks straight again. Oh, he's got a slight angle. And he's going to have to put a bit of pace in it. Well, it's going to be a toughie to keep the run going, and he's going to break balls out here with this shot. If he goes 100% for it, he's going to break a few out. If he plays it with pace, you know the danger when you play shots with pace in this table. But straight in. Well, that's actually, they haven't broken at all, really. And he's got nothing. It's just going to be the safety, I think. And again, when you look at that 10 ball, that 10 ball is very tight, but it does go. Yeah, it's so difficult to judge that pot being so close to the 10. Yeah, I was asking a lot, but it's still a run of 19 points that takes Semipro to 87, and Vince is way back on 24. Now he could stun up and avoid the pack right now, but he's decided to run into them, and to me that was another mistake, because he didn't need to. He had balls there to get on, and once again he's left himself in no man's land with a very tough shot in the 9 if he's going to try and keep this run going. But that was just the wrong choice of shot at the wrong time, going into those balls when he didn't need to, and where the odds are he could end up like where he is right now. And he's hung the 9. So once again, a bad choice by Vince, has to be said. Remember what I said, there's a right time for attacking and defending, and you have to just pick your way through what's there and keep those balls tight, because when you make that mistake, all you're doing is just leaving it open to your opponent just to pick off your good work. But to break those balls at that time was unnecessary. You've got to try and protect your score and just try and eat away at the deficit and then keep it safe. That's the only way you can approach. You can't be over aggressive. Certainly if you can't back it up by actually scoring when you get that chance. So I'm being hypercritical, but then if you've got a 2,700 rating, I've got every right to be critical about your choice of shots. And I don't know whether Semi-Pro's get the angle here to run into them. He might as well. If it is, it's an opportunity. And job done. He's got them open. He's got a thin one in the 3. He's got an awkward one in the 1. But if he can just drop the 3 in, he's back in good position. How does that look from there? Well, that's very tight. It's going to be long, I think. Into the corner. Is it? Yes. Could take the 8 and get up for the 1. Although the 8 ball, let's have a look at that. Well, that doesn't count. It's in the triangle, so it's no good as a break ball anyway. And the 7's way past the pack. But he has to get rid of this. This is no point in having that there. Probably just drop it in. Doesn't need to do anything with the cue ball. He's going to be on something. bit more of an angle in the one ball for comfort, so that's probably why he doesn't like it. And the one ball has to go now after this one if he's going to make any use of that 4. But the 4 is actually at the back of the pack and well away from it. So, same thing again, if he can get an angle like that on the 4, he can pot it and run into the pack. And that will do nicely. He's right on the line, exactly where he should be. And he should have a decent break if he can clip the corner and not hit solidly into the middle. Oh, he got it too thin. Now an easy safety for Semipro. Just run that 9 ball behind the pack and up the table and hide the cue ball up there and behind the pack if he wants. Because he's not going to break anything out off that 9 ball, so just keep it tight. Well, he spun out behind the pack, but Vinces has an easy safety as well. And that's not a combo. You'd have to make that. That'd be a bit risky. And what's he trying here, I wonder? Oh dear, this is going to go over the middle pocket for the break. Another fatal mistake. And Semipro, ball in hand behind the head string, just get a good potting angle in the 9 and smack that cue ball into the pack. I think we could safely say now that it's a desperate situation for Vinces. An easy safety he had, but decided to go for the pot, scratched off the only open ball on the table, and the worst possible outcome was to leave it in a position where it was easy with ball in hand just to create the break shot for Semipro. So he now goes to triple figures, 101, and Vince says, well, he has the mountain to climb. But I reckon even with a set of crampons and all the ropes that he could ever have, there's no way he's ever going to ascend this mountain. Well, that was a bad one. Got that all wrong. So the mistake is made. There's another chance for Vinces. And what he's really looking at now is getting a wee bit more respectable scoreline. That's really probably all he can ask for. Well, Semipro's made a lot fewer mistakes than Vinces has, but as I said earlier, if Semipro does face Frankel in the next round, he's certainly going to have to keep it tight. As is Frankel, because Frankel should know that Semipro is well capable of putting a run together. So it's if it does happen, it's going to be a good matchup. But as long as Semipro doesn't get to 150, and as long as Vinces is at the table scoring, he's not out the match. That's the great thing about straight pool. It could be 149 points to 20 behind, and you can put a run together and you can still win a match. Well, the 2 ball would have been a possible break ball. The 7 would have been a possible break ball. And it looks like, well, he's going to have to leave that ball over the pocket. And the only way he could have really got a decent break would have been skimming off and into the pack. And I don't know whether that's a great position to do it. We could play this with a bit of inside, and he's scratched. And that's what happens when you're coming towards the back of the pack. And it's only a run of 9. So there's been some vital mistakes made by Vinces that's cost him dearly, and this is another one. She's a wee bit awkward. I don't think he can see the 9. No. He can pot the 15. Oh, he's got the emergency backup ball up the table or down the table as we look. Now is he blocked off here? Oh, he can just squeeze that 7 ball. A nice little gap for it to go through. And now everything's sitting pretty good. Just the 2 and the 6 really to deal with. Although the 6 certainly is potable anywhere from this side. And that would deal with that problem. And even off this 13 he can just brush in and move something and improve that situation right now. And that will do nicely. Now he needs an angle if he's going to, he should probably take the 2 now rather than the 6, because he's got the angle on the 2. He's left an angle in the 2, but he's going to have to just force it in. Well, he's leaving that. I don't like any of them either. I'd still get rid of the 2 and get up the table. Now he's just out of line. Still got the 3. He's even got the long 1. It's just getting a wee bit awkward. And now the 15 is a blocking ball for the 5. So he's created his own problems here, but there's not a lot of pressure on. Polo, do us a favour. Do us a quick favour. Find out the final score in the Celtic game for us. It was 1-0 when this match started and I had to kill the stream. I didn't want it to start buffering. Find out what the result was. They should have won about 3-0 by the end of it, I would have thought. There you go. And what was the Liverpool score? Is that just started? Was it 4:30 or something? Oh, the match last... Aye, that's right. They played last night against Wolves. So they're still top of the Premiership. And Man City lost. Oh. And Chelsea lost to Leicester. Oh, they're all doing Liverpool a favour. Oh, it's going to be a nice Christmas down the Anfield way then. Well, I'd like to see Liverpool winning it. But there's a long run in. There's a long run in to go. And the only thing they can really do now is just shoot themselves in the foot and fall apart. There's been seasons where they've just not been able to keep that pace going, but I think they've got a great goal difference, so they don't get probably the best defence in the Premiership. I think I saw that the other night there. I was looking at the table. They've got a great defensive record, so the one thing they're not doing is leaking goals, and that's probably about the most important thing as it stands. It's always a good sign when you've got such a good defensive record. It's a good omen for the rest of the season. I think they'd only lost 7 goals, did they not? Aye, well, to only have let in 7 goals at this time in the season is excellent. That is a very, very good sign that they're doing the right things. And as long as the other teams just keep leaking points, then it's playing right into Liverpool's hands. But they have to do it when the question's asked at the big games, the most important games, and that's just where they've been falling short in the other seasons. If they do that this season, they'll win the title. It's a simple equation. Meanwhile, Vince has got himself... I don't know how he got himself back to the table because I was busy talking to Polo. But he's on a run of 12. And as I say, he's just looking to get some respective reading in the scoreline here in this match. Now, even at this stage, he should be looking at where the break ball is. He doesn't need to break anything. That 11 ball would have went and that would have broke those balls. So it's all, again, taking a risky shot. Or the, yeah, where he was doing the hustling thing. Right. So the 11 ball is a perfect break ball at the top of the pack, and you can hit the point and get those balls open. Well, here's a chance for Vince to just roll through. He wants to roll through to about here. Cue ball's coming this way. Well, he's killed it. He's left that a bit straighter than he really should have. And he doesn't want to run off this pack into the pocket. That's gone solid onto the head of the pack. And now he's in trouble. He's got a fairly simple ball into the middle pocket. Now, if he just runs through, I don't know what he's looking at here. I mean, there's nothing to see here other than playing that ball and just running through, because you're going to leave the 13 or that 6. Just a little gentle run through, and you've got to watch the miscue with this house cue as well. And he's got the 6. Well, now would be the best time to take the risk and try and move these balls. And that 8 ball would do well just to hang up. That'll do it. So Vince says on a run of 22, and it needs to be double that. He needs to get as many as he can possibly get to have a glimmer of a chance in any sort of recovery in this match. Another little nudge. Well, it's not really improved the situation. But if he plays the game right and gets over here, he can break those balls out with a little nudge off the 15. If he gets rid of the 15, he's got a shot off the 9. Now, I think he doesn't want to try and cheat too much of this, because he's too straight on this 15. And I think he's desperate to try and just nudge these. Yep, that was probably the right thing to do. Well, I wouldn't call it rallied. If he gets this run to 50, it would look more of a rally to me. Because he's 38, well, he's what, 48 points behind. Unless my basic arithmetic's gone down the Swanee. Well, he's only got the choice of the 1 and the 14. Again, it's going to have to be the 14, and he's leaving himself a couple of balls at the top end, which, unless he gets a good angle on either of them, in this case it's going to be the 7, he's not going to have a great break shot here. And you know, this is tough, because that 7 ball is fairly close to the rail, and he's getting into the back of the pack again. He needs a break here. He needs a bit of luck. And above all, he needs a 7 to go in. And how's his luck? Well, he's got nothing easy. This 8 ball is into a semi-blind pocket. And he can just roll it in and run onto the 3, and he's on the 14, or he's on the 13. He's not having to do anything with the cue ball. Just a little roll through, pocket weight to get this 8 ball in. And he's hung it up. Didn't have to play it so hard. So the run comes to an end at 34. But he's immediately left Semipro with a choice of starters. The 8 ball can stay up there as the emergency backup, or down here as we look. That allows him to be a wee bit more aggressive and try and improving things up at the top end. So, has Vinces played his last shot? Quick reminder, while semi-pros at the table, we'll have a look at the bracket. If we move across, there's a match scheduled for 45 minutes time at 6 o'clock GMT, if I can find it, and that's on the one loss side, and that's between Dirties and DJ Simon, and it's a race to 100. And well, that could go anyway. DJ Simon had lots of chances in his first match, and I think, did DJ Simon play semi-pro? Who the hell did he play in the first round? But he had chances, but he just did not score heavily enough with the chances that he had. I'm looking to see the bracket. I can't see it for looking. I'll give up. Yeah, I think Romario only drops in at weekends. I think that's the only time I've really seen him. So semi-pro on 119. And now he's got, let's have a look at what we have here. Well, we've got a break ball at the corner of the pack here, this 15 ball. So now he has to think about getting rid of the 8. And, well, he could certainly do that after this 2 ball. He could get rid of the 8 and then leave the, what the hell's this one, the 12. He could take the 12. Aye, Glenn. Aye, that's Frankel, I think. Although he denies it, I think. Because I think the thing about Glenn is, Glenn was into the racing. He went into the, I think he was racing F1 when it came out. This is the old EA Sports F1 or something like that years ago. And he was doing that while he was playing VP3, and I think that took him away from VP3. And I think Franco's into the same thing, so I think they're both the same person. I like to think they're both the same person. Well, this is a bit less of an angle than Semi-Pro might have liked here in this 15 ball. He's going to have to dig in. And how's he finished? Can he get to the 8? Yes, he can. And Semi-Pro in 124. Five ball into the middle. Has he got an angle in that 5 ball? He could be aggressive here in the 5 ball and just try and nudge into those 2. Yep. See, that's what I'm saying about there's a right time to attack and defend. I mean, the reason he could break into those 2, he had the angle and he knew fine well he was going to finish on a ball. You've got to pick the right times to make your move. Plenty of balls there for the potting, and dealing with the blocking balls and the clusters is the rules of the game. So all the time that you're playing, your mind and your focus should be on the lay of the balls, looking for blocking balls, opportunities to deal with clusters, and finding the break ball. Now he doesn't want to lock up. I think he's okay. And again, this angle in the 3, he could just nudge into stuff here if he wants. But there's balls for the potting, and that's gone a wee bit out of shape. Can he get past the 14? Yes, he can. Plenty of room. And a little run. Just frees up the other couple of balls. Well, that 4 and 7 ball can be set as a combo if he wants. If he takes the 2, he can nudge the 4, so he's got opportunities here. Right, see you later. Have a nice Christmas. So the 14 ball's the break ball. Well, I had planned to get something to eat, but I don't know whether to I could go and get something to eat, depending how quick this match finishes, and probably try and get the match with what do you call them, DJ Simon and Dirties or Dr. Ties, which is at the top of the hour. Well, the shot here is to drop the 1 in, get the angle in the 6, which he has. And I don't know whether he's got a good enough angle just to draw off the 6 and leave the potting angle in the 14. He could run around behind. It looks as if he's drawing off it. Looking to draw across. He could go that way and come out. I think he's going around the corner, and he's just gone a wee bit further, but he's more or less on the line, and the shot is looking good for the break. Now, well, the 11 ball goes, but I think that's the only one that goes, but you only need the 1 ball, and I think he's been lucky there. No, Parliament's definitely not has. Well, this is the beginning of the end. There's more than enough points here at this visit to finish the match. The run goes to 29. Yeah. Parliament also thinks he's Irish as well. I'm the only one here with Irish blood in me. Proper west coast of Ireland. Proper potato picking Irish. We're talking Father Ted country. That's where my ancestors come from. My great granny. Mrs. Doyle. Well, my surname could only be Irish. Right, so we're on 143 and... oh, well, I know what he tried to do there. Tried to just nudge that little cluster, just hit the 1 of them. He's still got the 3 ball. And if he wanted to be really ambitious, not that he needs to, but he could pot the 3 and still break into those balls if he dug down a bit. but doing the wise thing and just picking off what's there. Well, he needs 5 more, so he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, and if he gets the angle on the 12, he can just nudge out that extra ball that he needs to finish it off. And he's finished dead straight in the 2. He could squeeze a bit of an angle on this 2 if he wanted. And now he's gone a bit too far, so across the table and back out would be ideal on this 12 off the 14. And he's not going to have that chance now. So Semipro looking at the tight 9 ball, and the 9 ball goes, believe it or not. It is very tight. No, I don't think it does now that I look at it that way. When you look at it that way, it's going to glance at 8. When you look at it from back there, it looks as if it goes. A lot of inside. Well, is he going to try and create the combo, or does he think that does go? When you look at it close like that, it doesn't, but when you step back a bit, it does. It's extremely tight. He's going to have to put it in at the right hand side of the pocket. But no, he's played safe. And that's a good safety. Absolutely nothing for Vinces. And well, unless he just rolls dead to the 8 and loses a point, he's got no way of keeping this safe. Well, this is the final nail in the coffin, going for the bank. Oh, he's got it. Could this be the start of a remarkable comeback? 5 ball, I think, is in the triangle. And he's nudged it out, but he's blocked off, is he? No, he's finished on it. Well, that's a bit of luck. But he's going to run into the back of the pack again. Needs to hit a corner. And couldn't get the power. But once again, you have to call the safety and play it safe and just draw back behind the pack. And we've not saw any of these 2 players call the safety. It's part of the strategy of the game. If he drew back behind the pack and actually potted the 10, then his visit would end. And if he'd done that, he could have Semipro locked up behind the pack. So this for the match, and it should be all over. It's off the rail, and Semipro in the end wins 150 points to 71. And well, Vinces is moving over to the 1 loss side, but I have to say there are some good guys heading in the one loss side as well, and he's going to find it tough if he bumps into one of them. So Semipro is through to round 4, where he will meet with Franco, and that is going to be the possible match of the tournament so far between those 2. We're going to have probably a bit of a delay over the Christmas period before their match goes ahead. And as I say, in half an hour's time, we've got the match between Dirties and DJ Simon on the 1 loss side, race to 100. With that, folks, I am going to quickly go and get something to eat, and hopefully be back in time to get the DJ Simon Dirties match. And with that, I will say thank you for your company. Maybe see you later when we get back for for this next match. So take care and see you again soon.